don't really know what's sort of going on. Maybe it's because I'm on the motherland soil, but like Malidoma Patrice Somme's energy is really, really strong at the minute and drawing me back to a book I was reading and a couple of shorts on his teachings and practices from what he learned when he went back to the village. And for those that don't know him, I'll put a link below, but you'll be called to this energy or not if it's for you, especially if you're connected to the fae and the small people, so because of the Canton Blair. But I was just doing some research and reading, and something about the ancestors has come through, and like he said something about it's usually a given, like how much we loan the body to the mind, because obviously everything that manifests physically is from a place like from the mental realm. But he says, how often do we loan our body to the ancestors? Now, having moved through a life lived without addiction to certain substances, but I had other tendencies of various things that we move through because of spiritual, psychological warfare, where energies drag us out of a natural, high, abundant frequency of self-love and take us to the lower realms. So we need to be mindful, if we're sensitive, of where we frequent, what we consume, mentally, physically, food, and also what we watch and various things like that. God, his energy is so strong. A lot of us on this awakening journey have been connecting to the ancestors in ways that might seem strange to the people and the families that we've been born into, because it's not really spoken about in our cultures as much as other cultures. And for me, it's really funny that over the years, like who I've gravitated towards, or who like has become like close friends, have always been very open to the non-physical, the non-verbal, the other realms, the ancestors. It's been part of our conversations. So when I went through a load of things that certain people may not have understood, overstood, because it wasn't part of the cultural dialogue, debate, family conversations, whereas there were other people that knew exactly what I'd experienced, what I was going through, what I might be hinting at. And so I guess, the number is number 5. I don't know, maybe it's because number change at the minute. There's lots of 555. But anyway, the 5 years now into this conscious remembrance and reconnection to the ancestors. So my altar practice, my daily spiritual practices for spiritual health become very, very important to me and help ground and stabilise me in this physical realm. And I get given tasks to complete from the other realm, where the ancestors are. And something's going on right now for the people. So 333, I feel like if things are chaotic in the brain, please ask the ancestors, please ask helpers and guardians and guides to start to manage what might be coming through. Might be overwhelming. Because even if you're speaking out loud, you might take it to nature. That's where a lot of the spirits go and with deceased. So you go to nature and you speak out loud. You're not speaking only to the tree spirits. There are other energies and entities that reside there after they leave this realm. It's a very healing practice. It can look strange to other people, but we're not doing anything in this life for optics, for the visibility of what it looks like to someone else, because it ain't their journey, it's ours. And so with this connection, deeper connection to the ancestral realms, and it's weird because I'd written something down under a new video that I'm going to be releasing, and underneath it I said, like, whether you like the ancestors or not, we have to have respect. We have to give respect where respect is due. Like, credit where credit's due. Is like, they're the ones that got us to the here and now. Whether we like them or not, like, they fought a lot of harder times than we might have ever faced in our physical existence. and not some other, I can't speak for everybody, I'm just saying there's one perspective on it, is that they went for a lot to get us here, to get us to the privileges and the comfortability of the lives that we're living right now. And that's why some of us also like going back to a relative basic sort of existence, because of the imbalance of various things, masculine and feminine energy and output and capitalism and blah blah blah. Anyway, we've all got to make it through this world, but some of us get guided onto different paths and other forms of energetic exchange that propel us forward in our life. And so when he said that, how often do we loan to the body? We know how often we loan the body to the mind, but how often do we loan the body to the ancestors? It's something that came through with me a couple of years ago, because some of my ancestors smoked. I occasionally had a cigarette, or didn't really smoke marijuana until much later on in my life, actually, like 34, 35, and dabbled a bit. And then it became, I had a kind of quite an intense relationship with her as a beautiful medicinal plant, and now I'm sort of not dependent on, and it was never dependent, but it was a once a day daily practice. So anything daily is, is that's a level of consistency that I don't desire on anything that takes me out of experiencing life and the beauty and life and the natural high that I can get from just living in gratitude and beauty of and reverence of the elements and nature. But anyway, that's God, there's so many tangents here, fucking hell, this is like overwhelming. Anyway, so some of them smoked, and so as you go through the underworld, and that can be seen or considered as the world where the spirits are, alcohol, the nightclub, the night scene, the darkness, the dark night people, track night people. Anyway, we have to be mindful of our energies in those spaces, because the shadow realms, things come out in the night. And so sometimes over the past couple of years, there's a few things that have come through that I'm like, if we are the altar, if our physical existence is the altar, everything that we put into this vessel, how we live, is how we honour what has come before us, then the reason why I say I'm not a purist is because I know that there are things that may not be good for my body, and I do not indulge in anything. Indulgence is not a thing to me anymore. I think we have to be mindful. There might be bouts, dips, I haven't lived my full life yet, so I can't talk for the future, but right here, right now, although time, whatever, past, present, future, is really just an ever-present now moment. I don't really know what I think about the past and the future and the time anymore, so I just think it's just all now. Anyway, something's going through. So if our body is the altar, some of the ancestors, if we don't connect and in a healthy way, if we don't also be firm in our relationship and with them, then, and also not just them, there are other ancestors that can hijack the vessel and take over. And this is potentially what I'm trying to get at, and what Malidoma is hinting at, is in terms of addiction and the shadow realms that can take over the body and lead us into over consuming toxic substances or relationship or things, to the point where we don't care about our vessel anymore, we don't care about existence, because we're in the pain. So like, we're being used, we have given up life, we've given up on life in a way, therefore the gratitude is not there, and gratitude is a very high vibration, so we flop back into lower vibrations where other energies can take hold of our body and lead us into addictions and things, needing something all day every day. that could be a whole host of things. I'm not here to call anyone out, name it, whatever you choose. So that's why I'd say I'm a purist, is because sometimes there are practices, and I don't need to share them with anybody. Some people might catch me in the physical world doing things or not, or I might do things privately or not. When I know, and as I've learned to discern and decipher where the messages are coming from, then yes, I, in agreement with Malidoma, is how often do we loan our physical vessel to the ancestors? Increasingly. The more I realise, 1, 2, 3 on the clock before, the more I realise just how the proximity of the realms, like occasionally I'm like, fucking hell, who's there? Who's there? I can feel, anyway, and I see some ancestors walk around, some of my friends, and anyway, whatever. It's just interesting. So something to consider, a perspective. You either might want to read up on Malidoma. He's got some messages for the people right now. Proper. He is proper. Ain't no one like this one. He's proper unique. He's brilliant. His delivery, his voice, his tone, his experience, his overcoming, his mission is, yeah, big respect to that one. He makes me laugh because he's definitely connected to the small people, like the Fae. They're mischievous, they're funny, they're playful, they're giggling. There's like the Irish is leprechauns to start to come out now. Like, I'm going to stop because there's some other things that are trying to get into this transmission, and I kind of wanted it to connect to motherland, not the Irish, but I love them as well. So 1144 on the clock. I'm going to leave it at that. Might want to look at, our body, ourselves as an altar, ancestral practice, ancestral connection, forgiveness for what's come before, doing things differently, and making sure that no other external energy, even if we love them and they've passed on, is hijacking our vessel for their benefit, because they do not 12-12. They do not get the benefit of a physical body. This is the only realm where we get to feel, sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever. That's why we can't take this life for granted. It is fantastic that we get to experience the things that we do, but also that we don't get led by other things and substances that have a toxic, lower vibrational spirit consistently. So I don't know if that made sense.